Anyway, we need to fight back, and if we need to win 55% of the vote because of gerrymandered districts, then we've got to win 55% of the vote. If it give money, all that money you're saving from not using Amazon, from not using whatever, donate to politicians. And so where I wanted to start with this, some people are criticizing David Hogg, and I understand the criticism, but I also understand this. We can't sit there and say, give money and, vote blue no matter who, and then tell people not to worry about who. Like, this is where I stand on this entire thing. You have to vote for the Democrat no matter what district you're in. But you sure as hell, if you're going to complain about who won the primary, you better be involved in the primary. You bet, you know what I'm saying? Like, you better, if you don't like the person that's in your district, and then give money to the person that's contending against them. And if there's nobody contending against them, you contend against them. Like, if you're frustrated by the options, get better options. And so that's where I 100% agree with David Hogg. I think that what he's doing is correct. The way that the MAGA moved everything to the right is by primarying anybody that disagreed with the fascists out of their system, or terrifying them into moving into along with them. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with competitive primaries. I don't have a problem with competitive primaries against established leaders. If you don't like Jeffries, run against him. And I think that does two things. One, it invigorates the left. And I mean, even the left for Democrats. It gives them hope that there's a possibility that somebody on the left can win. And that means that they can move the country in the left. The things that the left really cares about, which a lot of these things are things I think most of us care about, are, like, let's get some kind of universal health care. I think that maybe we can put too much weight into like this phrase Medicare for all. There are different ways of doing it. There are better ways of doing it. There were worse ways of doing it. But if there's a way we can do it, that's what matters most. So there's things like that. And if we want to invigorate the left, if we want the left to show up, if we want younger people to show up, we need to give them hope. We need to give them belief in our democracy. And the way to get them to believe in our democracy is to show them their participation matters too. And I can tell you one thing. I had a lot more energy when I was 25 than I did when I was 55. And that means I could do more. So I'll also say I've got a lot more wisdom at 55 than I did at 25, right? So it doesn't hurt to have both. But we can't demean or diminish the efforts of the younger ones, the younger people, out of this idea of like political stasis, to where like Democrats, if you've already won your seat, you've got to stay there. And Hogg is not going after like the really competitive districts. He's going after the ones that aren't competitive. I don't know which ones he's targeting, but we need to do something, right? We need to break out of this shelter. We have like the Democrats have 27% approval rating, but that's nationwide, and I think that gets a little overstated, because like half of the people are Democrats. So 27% of the Democrats' approval is like 54% approval from Democrats. Whereas the sycophants just whatever Trump does is right. Like Democrats are a little different in that we have a range of uh, political ideas and views, and some things are just really not that simple. Some things are nuanced. Some things like Gaza, and is it genocide? And this is like another. So like I think this is a great example of what we need to do as the left to learn to talk about things like Gaza instead of running around screaming genocide, Joe. Like, no Democrats that I've heard are like encouraging Israel to go in and murder children, right? To say that it's like the pro-genocide party is, or you think like Kamala Harris or Joe Biden were like for genocide while they were trying to say stop committing war crimes. I think that's like a little over aggressive. But that doesn't mean that Israel isn't committing genocide or that we're not sending Israel weapons so that they can defend or that they can commit genocide, right? But the other side of that is there is a political cost. And so if you start saying we need to cut off all aid to Israel, what percentage of the Democratic voters are Jewish? And so we lose the voters that are offended about Gaza, and I understand why they are. But if we go the other direction, then we lose the voters that would be offended by abandoning Israel. And Israel was attacked. Like it's not, but Israel was not attacked by Gaza. Israel was attacked by Hamas. And then Hamas had Israeli prisoners there. And they were hiding them with Gazan children. And the Gazan children were the ones that were dying, not Hamas. But they were, in part, some of them, in some cases, using them as shields. And so it's not like Hamas is right. And it's not like the majority of Israel is in favor of what Israel is doing. They're trying to get Bibi, like a lot of them want Bibi in jail, right? So it's not even like you're pro-Israel or pro-Hamas, but that's the way that, the way it gets represented sometimes is you're either for Bibi or you're for Hamas. And it's like, can't you be for peace? And, an election in Gaza that's a free and fair election where they have a right to self-determination. They haven't had an election since like 2000, I want to say 2004, and half the population is not adults. And so, what percentage of the population was even able to vote the last time they had a vote? And for years they had things like they couldn't import nutmeg. It's like the degree to which Gazans suffered, and I don't mean Hamas, but some of that suffering was because of Hamas. And I don't even like the history there. It doesn't just go back to 2004 and Hamas. It doesn't go back to, after World War II when Israel was granted nationhood. It doesn't even go back to World War I, where England was promising both Palestinians and Israelis the same land in exchange for fighting against the Ottomans. And so then and then you've got like going all the way back to Isaac and Ishmael, right? Like these are not groups of people that have ancient history of like hugging each other, right? And you got the crusade. Like we've got like 2,000 years of these people trying to kill each other, and us very much being involved in killing both of them. Like by us, I mean like Europe, Western Europe. So on the left, we need to have a conversation about Israel and Gaza and what is the right approach. And I've asked a lot of people about that, and I can never get any kind of definitive answer. I can't even get a vague answer. I just get either called an anti-Semite or, being in favor of genocide. And I am definitely not an anti-Semite, and I am definitely not in favor of genocide. But I don't know the answer, which is why I keep asking people for one. And it's like, we need to think about answers on the left. We don't just need to yell at Trump. I agree with that. And I think we need to, the way to find answers is oftentimes by expanding your circle. Like, if you're in the bubble, you're never going to come up with answers that are outside the bubble. We need to go outside our bubble to find answers and to think about answers. And I think with what Hogg is doing, that gives us a real chance to do that. And in doing so, can gain us more votes. Back to the whole 54% of Democrats thing. Well, a lot of the 27% are people on the left that hate Trump as much as we do. Are a lot of people that are, like, I don't want to say the 27. Like, let's say that, 27% are Democrats unhappy with Democrats. They're not unhappy with Democrats because we disagree with Trump. They're unhappy with Democrats because we're not doing enough to stop Trump. Or they're unhappy with Democrats because we're not doing enough to help them. And they like Trump even less, but they don't like being told being told to stay home, or if like being told if you don't vote for the candidate that was appointed for you, then you are basically voting for Trump. Like, whether that's right or not is irrelevant. That's how they feel. And so we have to acknowledge that's how they feel. And we need to talk to them based on how they feel instead of just correct them and tell them how they're supposed to feel. And that's another thing that I don't know how to do. I don't know what the answers are to these things, but I do know we need to start striving for them as a group if we're going to really make things better. And I know we don't have a lot of time to do it. So yesterday on the show, I was talking about we need to, reach out to the MAGAs. Also, let's reach out to the left. Or reach out to the moderates, depending on where you sit on that spectrum. I don't know, how people see me. I think I'm like kind of in between. Like, I always feel like I'm the negotiator between like the left and the moderate left. I'd say like my favorite politician, which is probably not something most people have, or at least at one time. But my favorite politician was Paul Wellstone. And I would say if anybody still knew who Paul Wellstone was, I would call myself a Wellstone Democrat. Like, I'm a Democrat that's not afraid to call myself a Democrat. I believe in the institution. I think the institution is the best way to go. But I also think that the institution needs to move left. And I think we need to do more in that regard. So whatever that means to you, that's where I see myself at. But we need to make changes real quick, or the economy is going to be like, I think it's going to be real bad in 2 years, and I hope that is enough for us to win back at least the House and possibly the Senate. But if we don't do that, then the economy is going to be irrecoverable in 4 years. So